afternoon and welcome back to Packer Transplants Very Much Live. I'm Aaron Nagler and I'm joined as always by Mr. Corey Banke, my partner here at Cheesehead TV. We are coming to you live from the LiveX studio in Midtown Manhattan, and we are ready finally to talk some Packers. Corey, what is on tap this afternoon?
This afternoon, we're going to bask in the glory of another Aaron Rodgers comeback.
Big time.
And get ready for a bye week of soul searching. But right now, it's time for the good, the bad, and the ugly. We got the good. We got
Mason Crosby.
I'm sorry. We got the bad. We got
Play clock mismanagement.
we got the ugly. We got
Penalties. Did I mention penalties? How are you, Corey Banke?
I'm good.
Yeah. How was the game?
Crazy day here at the old LiveX studios.
Can't apologize enough for the late start, everyone. It's a bit of a day.
Welcome to it.
Bit of a day, but we are here.
You know, the Packers played a game. The Packers won. Everybody's bitching about it, and I don't understand it.
Here we go. Let's get into it. Now,
yeah.
even you, Corey Banke, the ardent, truest fan I know who will back the Packers to the hilt 1,000,000,000% any given Sunday, every day of your life, have to admit they look like garbage for a good portion of that game.
No, I don't admit it.
Just throw it. Just throw away.
I actually don't admit it.
So why do we even do this? Like,
Because
we just sit here and you deny that there are any problems or any issues.
I'm not denying that there's not any problems. What I'm saying is that the problem, okay, is exacerbated by the culture that we live in currently.
That's fair.
Okay?
That's fair.
So there is no moderation. Right? We're either garbage or we're not, right? You cannot, here's the problem. We are judging all of these teams based on the record that they are walking into. But yet, we are only learning how good or poor or bad these teams are inside of the week. The NFL is a classic example where you don't really know anything, okay?
At all.
You don't know anything. You don't even know about the Rams. I know the Rams, they look amazing.
High-flying, undefeated,
great, right?
la, la, la.
But you don't actually know if they've played the best team they're going to play.
Yeah. Exactly.
The best team the Rams could play this season, okay? I'm not saying
could
this
become
will
after
be.
the bye week when the Packers roll into LA.
It very well could be Green Bay. Looking back on the 2018 season, right? 2018-2019 season, you could a historian,
it's possible,
conceivably turn around and go, you know what? The best team the Rams played
all year
in 2018-2019,
the toughest game they had,
was the Green Bay Packers.
Absolutely. I do not discount that.
Therefore, that's where I get to, right?
I know, I feel you.
It's so easy to say that the Niners are garbage. You know what? They're not garbage. Okay?
They look pretty damn good on Monday night.
They're not garbage.
I tell you that.
You know, I'm going to bring out, before we go into
people, it's one of those weeks. He printed out some stats.
Guess who's second in the NFC North?
Is that the Green Bay Packers?
Okay, here's the crazy thing, okay?
All right.
When you look at the spread versus teams, right? And I'm not talking about betting spreads, right?
No, I know.
But when you look at like touchdowns, offense, total rush yards, right?
Right.
Opponent versus the Packers, there's a lot to be happy about. Okay?
Okay.
There's a lot to be happy about.
Right.
You know, so I'm just going to spend this show.
All right.
You're going to bring up a negative thing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm
going to bring up a realistic thing, a moment of reality, and then you are going to pump it up and turn it into a positive of Dreamland, Fairyland, where you live constantly with the Packers.
Okay, I don't...
I'm just going overboard because I know it gets under your skin.
That's very hyperbolic, but okay.
Oh, wait. What? I'm hyperbolic.
It's a little hyperbolic.
God.
But okay.
Right. That's fine.
That's fine.
You're right. So should we get to the news?
Yeah.
Now that we've debated whatever the hell it is we're debating.
Let's do it.
Number one, when you're looking at Packers news, I think it's kind of funny because it's kind of been buried a little bit because of everything that everyone's talking about in regards to how the Packers looked on Monday night. Aaron Rodgers said after the game that he hopes to shed the knee brace that he's been wearing pretty much since week 1 after the bye week. Now, there's no tried and true that's for sure going to happen, but he does look better. He does look more mobile. I know there was a setback in Detroit, but for the most part, he looks like he's ready to kind of be let loose, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I know it's been frustrating for both him and McCarthy. There are still limitations on this offense because of Rodgers' injury.
No doubt.
Because of the
No
knee.
doubt.
And to get him off a bye week, a full week of rest, going into obviously one of their tougher games of the season in LA, it's going to be good to have, if he can shed that brace and have the whole playbook open to them basically for the first time since the first quarter of week 1, that'll be a positive. So that'd be nice.
That'd be nice.
Number 2 on our old news segment here, Mason Crosby, who Corey Banke, last week on this here program, was pining to be cut, has won the NFC Special Teams Player of the Week.
Okay, just bring it to this camera right now.
Corey would like to address.
Okay, dear Mason Crosby, I would like to apologize for my statement on Packer Transplants for wanting to get you fired. I'm sorry. You're the best. Please forgive me.
That was amazing. And that is the first thing I'm going to cut up and put on Twitter as soon as the show is done. That was incredible.
Look, you got to give props for props due.
You do, man, right?
There's a reason that I am not the coach of the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, ditto.
There's a reason that I probably shouldn't even have an internet show.
Yeah.
I haven't come up with it yet, but, you know. There you go.
I mean, people tune in to hear what you got to say every week. So, you know,
Now,
you're doing something right.
Now,
Yeah.
I did say
Right.
that it's a trend issue, right?
You mean as far as Crosby?
It trended up.
Yeah.
We trended up.
We. Is that the royal we? Mason did, yeah.
We
No, he did.
We trended up.
Absolutely.
You know who's trending down?
Oh dear. Who's that?
Someone that you like very much that we happened to draft who did not have such a great game.
Are you talking about J.K. Scott?
Yes, I am. Okay.
Well, hey,
I was
wait.
disappointed.
Now, to be fair-
I was very disappointed in
To
Jay.
be
Not
fair.
once did he flip the field. He had
No, he
3 opportunities to
He
do
did.
it.
He
Did
did.
not flip it.
He didn't do it big time.
Didn't even get close. Didn't even have his crazy J.K. Scott hang time.
Right.
I'm a little bit disappointed.
I was a little disappointed too. I'm man enough to admit that. I will say his first punt of the evening was perfectly placed inside the 5-yard line.
And
the
we
coverage
didn't.
screwed
Yeah,
up.
yeah, we did.
That wasn't on JK.
That's-
Like that should
well,
have been.
it wasn't.
That should have been a brilliant punt.
It should have been, and they could have maybe caught it, but it could have been. I mean, if you want to use the word perfect, he could have been like 1 yard, and then it would have been in.
Good God, man.
He was a second, what 5th round draft pick?
Seek help.
Any draft pick.
All right.
We drafted a punter, okay? If you draft a punter, every punt better be amazing. Seriously.
It better be like.
But
you
where
better
was
see
it?
God every time
Like,
he
there were a
punts.
couple times I was like, all right, we got J.K. Scott. Let's flip the field.
I know,
people.
and he didn't. And you know what's concerning about that? I will say, to your credit, it was cold on Monday night.
Oh, no, it was cold.
It was cold.
Guess what?
And guess what? It's only going to get colder.
Gonna get colder, J.K. That Alabama leg.
JK better get it turned around in the cold.
J.K. needs to step up.
And it's one thing to just boom him in August. Got to be able to
That's
boom
what's
him
gonna
in
happen.
December.
You know, and that will be sad. If he flatlines,
I'm just saying.
and then we come back at training camp and everybody's like, oh,
they're
look at the hang time.
booming it.
And no one's like, it's not cold, you guys. It was cold.
It was
It
cold, I
wasn't.
know.
It wasn't
it
cold.
wasn't freezing or anything, but it was cold.
Well, it wasn't cold by Lambeau standards.
Right, exactly.
It wasn't cold by Green Bay standards. It was cold for an early October game.
for a game, exactly. That's all I'm saying. And then here I literally only put this in here because I know you're such a big fan of practice squad
Oh,
movement.
Lord.
D'Angelo Yancey released from the practice squad. But I will say, the only kind of reason this is significant, at least to me, you know they signed Yancey after the injuries to Randall Cobb and Geronimo Allison because they had these young guys coming up, these young rookies, and you know they weren't entirely sure how they were going to respond when given plenty of playing time. And after the 2 weeks that they've had, voila, D'Angelo Yancey released from the practice squad.
Let me show you why. Guess who has 17.7 yards
Oh, boy.
per reception?
Is that EQ?
MVS.
MVS.
EQ has 27, which is why you were thinking about. He doesn't have as many catches.
Exactly.
But
He's
the
not getting
fact
many,
that MVS has 12 receptions and is doing
Averaging
17 yards.
That's ridiculous.
Bye-bye, D'Angelo.
Yeah, not needed.
Yeah.
I mean, that was smart on Gutekunst's part.
Yeah.
Like, bring back a guy who knows this.
MVS is
You can
legit.
insert, but MVS is the real deal. And I tell you what, I think EQ is the real deal too.
Yeah.
They may have hit on.
I think
if you hit on 2 out of 3 of those wide receivers, it's like when they drafted those 3 running backs the year before, and they clearly hit on 2 or 3 of those. I mean, that's pretty good.
It's really good, especially a wide receiver in the first part of the season. That's really ridiculous.
A rookie wide receiver stepping in with Aaron Rodgers, the trust issue that they always talk about. They've hit the ground running.
I mean, I will say, like, I know we the
royal we.
I know I poo-poo preseason and training camp, but you got to legitimately say, besides Kumaro, MVS had the best training camp probably of anyone.
No doubt about it. I mean, he looked good.
On the offense.
He was a little bit up and down early on, but he
But that game, the second preseason game,
Steelers preseason.
Was second, right? Yeah.
Yep.
That was great. I mean, he took over the game, basically.
Absolutely. And then finally, from news from a little while ago, but it did transpire after our last transplant show, and I didn't want it to go unsaid on this program because this is an iconic Green Bay Packers legend, a figure that features in Packers lore. Rest in peace, R.I.P. to Jim Taylor, one of the great backs ever in the history of, the entire franchise. My favorite kind of bit, I'd mentioned this in the watch party on Monday night with Ryan, but I wanted to repeat it here. One of my favorite things about Jim was how salty he got when Amon Green broke his rushing record.
Like, I don't remember that.
He didn't. Like, I know behind the scenes he was really salty, but like in public he would because obviously Amon Green breaks your record. Like people are going to go to you and get a quote, whatever. Yeah. And he was like, "Oh well, they play way more games now than they did back then." Can't just say congrats or whatever. But
I mean, it's true.
It's 100%. It's true.
It's true. And you know what else is sad is that all of the offensive records that are done in the last 5 years now, the NFL keeps playing with all this BS.
Yeah,
you got to put an asterisk on all that too.
You should. They won't, but they should. 100%.
You should. Jim Taylor. I was watching, the Packers were putting all these videos, these black and white videos, and I was watching them all weekend, and like I literally, because it was so rainy on Saturday in Green Bay, I was watching all these Jim Taylor videos, and like I didn't grow up during then, and I love seeing the G on the helmet and all this stuff, but it almost makes you, I don't know, it's really amazing what was accomplished from 1958 to about 1967 when it comes to the NFL and the Green Bay Packers. It's one of these things that I think we take for granted because we were born into this team, in the sense of like we are, our parents or our grandfathers, whatever, watch the team, and I sometimes think about my grandfather because he watched the team before World War II, and then he was in World War II, and then he watched the team after.
That's my grandpa.
And so
100%.
I just want to think about like, okay, what was it like to watch this team that Curly Lambeau has in the early 30s to late 40s, and then to see the late 40s into the 50s
and watch it all die,
and watch it just
completely disintegrate.
Watch it crumble, right? And go, are we gonna be the Staleys or the way of the Chicago Staleys or the and I just want, sometimes I'm think about that and then right, and it's like a Hollywood movie in a lot of ways, but we're talking about decades, right? Yeah. Just to think, what was it like when Lombardi, like when they signed Lombardi, like what was my grandfather thinking?
Was like, who the hell is Lombardi?
Right. And how much bitching was there? And how much did the press Gazette
wrote it in the paper like no one knows who this guy is. It's clearly a favor to someone in New York, like blah 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 blah. Like there was all of that. And then Lombardi comes and just dominates.
Well, and then it goes to a guy like Jim Taylor, like we're losing, it's sad and it's life, but we're losing these guys we're losing, and it's not just history, and it's real. It's this real thing in Green Bay. It's what like there's this cohesive bond in Green Bay.
Yes.
And it's people think that whatever you want to say about sports or football, there is a real tangible mood, feeling, emotion in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and it centers around the Green Bay Packers in a way that no other team is like this. Not the Brewers, not the Dodgers, not the Yankees, 100%. Not no one.
Even the Yankees, and people will push back on the Yankees, and they're wrong because New York goes on no matter what the Yankees are doing. Yes, there are a million Yankees fans, but New York doesn't care.
Well,
everything still happens without the Yankees. In Green Bay, whatever happens with the Packers, everyone's tuned into it whether they care or not.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah, because it really affects their life.
It affects everything. It affects everything. And I totally hear what you're talking about. I remember my grandma talking about this the last time I ever had lunch with her. This is crazy. Like my life, I think it was my junior year at NCSA. I came up for Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. We had lunch. It was the last time I ever saw her. She passed away before Christmas, and when I came back up. But we had a lunch, and she talked about going to see the Packers in a farmer's field. Like in a field, like there was a field, for God's sakes. And they're playing football. The Green Bay Packers. And they're like, there are cows over there. You know what I mean? And to see it grow, she was at the Ice Bowl, much like your family was. And to watch the growth of the NFL throughout that time, someone like Jim Taylor is a link to a time, to that growth, to that just not just the area, but the bond.
And Jim Taylor.
We do an internet show about this team, for God's sake.
Well, and Jim Taylor's like the whole Southern thing. Like it's kind of like with Brett Favre. It's like Southern tradition of football, right? And we got the best.
Yes,
like we got it. We got the Jim Taylor, right? He was the best running back of his day, and he played for us. He played for Lombardi.
Okay, you're gonna love this comment. This is way off topic, but I absolutely love it. Rob Domofsky has a chub anytime Scott punts.
He does, though. I concur.
That's the funniest thing I've read.
I concur.
That's amazing. All right, we're back on script. We're going to talk about the Packers' offense. Because nobody wants to talk about punters. I saw an amazing headline. And I didn't remember Rodgers saying this post-game, so I had to go back and watch the video today to be sure that this actually was uttered. But it was. This is true. A headline on October 16th, this is obviously today while we were recording the 17th, but yesterday, in the paper of record, as it is constituted for the Green Bay Packers, the Green Bay Press-Gazette, the offense, still finding their identity. Really? It's October 16th!
I mean, it's true.
I understood when Rodgers said at his locker during training camp, it's going to be a work in progress early on. I get that. That's to be expected. But still trying to find your identity heading into the bye week in mid-October is a sign that you don't have one.
I think when you're
probably won't.
I don't know about that. I think that we take for granted his injury. Okay?
That's fair.
I think it's a little bit hard to find an identity when your quarterback is hobbling around. Because here's the thing, right? It's almost like, you remember when Brett Favre, he had an injury and he was saying how, once he had an injury, it affected other parts of his body, right?
Because you're compensating.
Yeah, so he's compensating, right? Yeah. So intellectually, Aaron Rodgers is probably like, you can see this in 2 weeks ago, where he sees that, hey, if I just run 4 yards, the defense is going to give me 10, right? Well, guess what, Aaron? You can't run 4 yards, so don't do that.
You don't have
so like your brain, my brain tells me, hey, Corey, don't chew your fingers. Okay. But you know what? I have a habit, right? Your brain tells you, hey, maybe I shouldn't drink so much when I'm doing the watch party because I'm going to yell at Banky. And, are you drinking right now?
I'll tell you what, I have never once, ever in my life thought I should drink less so I yell less at Banky. But I will say, you're correct. You're correct in that I think you are right insofar as Rodgers having ideas about what should be done, and he's probably limited a little bit. I mean, we saw it Monday night. There was one specific play where you saw him try and break outside, and it's like, dude, you're not out running no defensive end.
Well,
what are you doing?
And people are like, oh, he played like garbage. He played like this, and you had a tweet of like a generational quarterback. Yeah, I mean,
well, he is.
Look, we're back to slinging it in the mud right here. Okay, and you know what? What I saw Monday night.
Right.
That was actually football.
You mean the comeback?
The whole thing. Yeah, it was messy. Yeah, it was sloppy. Guess what? That's football.
No, not in 2018.
Yes. Well, you want to watch the Rams, okay?
No, it's not that.
You want to watch the Rams,
the Chiefs, the Rams, whatever.
You want to watch the Chiefs.
It's not even that.
I'm not even talking about you.
I'm just talking about
go
execution.
Watch them. Yeah, of course. Well, how can you execute when your quarterback is hobbling as soon as he snaps the ball?
You can hand the ball off to Aaron Jones.
I would like that. Let's actually look at another stat. Speaking of Aaron Jones, where was I grabbing this? What is wrong with McCarthy?
What am I doing here?
Okay.
Oh, God.
Ty Montgomery, though.
Right.
I kind of see McCarthy's problem.
They're all talented, and they all have things they bring to the table. And I get it.
It is a problem.
Yes.
Okay? And it's not, here's what I'm sick of. I'm not a Mark McCarthy apologist. I don't know how I feel about Mike McCarthy. I actually feel like him and I would get along really well.
You totally would.
And
I need this to happen.
And
I keep trying to get him to your house.
And I also think that McCarthy is a very smart person who is very underrated as a human being.
Agree.
Period. End of story. Right?
1,000,000% agree.
I think he will go down. Obviously, he won a Super Bowl. He will go down as one of the greatest Green Bay Packer coaches of all time. That's just because that's going to happen.
A damn street after.
Yeah, that's what happens. But he's got when you see Montgomery in that game, he's got a problem on his hands. You can't just hand it off to Aaron Jones. I
hear you. It was funny too because I saw a couple things on Twitter about Montgomery and his use, and I'm like, there's plenty of tape from that Monday night game to show you his worth.
Yeah.
And what he does to a defense. How do you play him? Because there's one play in particular where he's in the backfield. He lines up, and all of a sudden, Aaron motions him to the slot, and all of a sudden, it's 5 wide, and you're in base personnel, or maybe even just nickel personnel, but still, now you've got, do you walk the safety over to him? Okay, fine, you're going to walk a linebacker over there. Ty Montgomery's beating any linebacker off the line of scrimmage. So, yeah, he's a major problem. He's a major weapon. I just think, and this is just me. Now, we're going to talk about the run game here. We're talking about Aaron Jones, talking about Ty Montgomery. The run game, I just don't think you're talking about an identity, an offensive identity. Clearly, they're always going to be a pass-first team with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. There's no doubt about that. But I do think they need to help Aaron Rodgers with a run game.
Yeah.
He's not the Aaron Rodgers he was even 2 years ago, especially with a gimpy knee.
Well, do you think like I was rewatching the watch party, which I wanted to have a shout out to Ryan Grant for taking my job, by the way. But no, he was amazing.
Great.
Oh my goodness. I watched the replay. I actually watched it like a couple times. Last night I was watching all the clips that you posted.
Right.
I mean, it's just gold. Everything out of his mouth I wanted to listen to. I highly encourage everyone to watch that. I'm sure everybody watching this did. But do you think that that's still the case, that they don't practice the run as much?
Well, let's hear what he had to say. We have the clip here. Ryan mentioned the running game. This kind of blew my mind. So, Gaff, roll the
when
run
I was
game.
in Washington for that month, what we did in one day of practice to work on the run game was more than what we were doing an entire week in Green Bay.
Really?
Yeah. The amount that they practiced
the run
game was more in one practice than we would practice an entire week.
That blows my mind.
It was, and I was like, oh, this is why they're so efficient in their run game.
Right.
And these Shanahan teams,
you get
what you
emphasize.
Exactly, you get what they, and it was like phenomenal. Because amazing. It was like, whoa, we're putting so much work, and I'm like, we would never do this in Green Bay. Never.
Because you guys
it just wasn't the focus.
Runs.
Yeah, it just wasn't exactly.
Runs.
It just wasn't the.
You had what? The outside zone, right? Yeah. Outside zone left,
and we knew our outside zone was always going to be there because we had that outside zone boot.
Yep.
But that was
the thing. It was like, so the whole thing is predicated off that action, and then pull it down, boot out, and then hit.
So Mike changed after once Aaron became Aaron Rodgers, and it was like, oh, we can do whatever we want with him. Then it changed the whole well, then we don't necessarily need to develop this as much because he's Aaron.
He's Aaron. And that's why, to answer your question, I think it's exactly like that. Because I think, they know they've got some zone runs. They work in some things. They did last year, especially after Aaron got hurt. You saw them really develop in the run game. There's no doubt that they worked on it more in practice. You saw David Bakhtiari pulling. That didn't happen 2 years ago.
Well, that's the thing. If your guard is pulling, certainly you're rehearsing a lot more.
Well, that's the tackle. Like, they've pulled guards.
Sorry. But if anybody's if you're doing pulling, my point is,
the timing.
You've got to practice that. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to hand it off to this guy and hope everybody.
We saw that Monday night. We saw Bakhtiari pulling, etc. So they've incorporated some different elements in the run game, which clearly they have to practice. But when you've got Aaron Rodgers, you've got this offense that's completely, and what I mentioned in that clip, you get what you emphasize. Kyle Shanahan lives on the running game. You saw that Monday night when they ran all over the Packers. And then McCarthy, there's two things he talks about all the time in regards to working on the screen game and the running game. Two things that they're not great at. They just aren't. They can be if they emphasize it in practice and in games, but they don't. And it shows up on the field. And my contention has been all season long and will continue to be, help your quarterback by emphasizing those things. You know Aaron Rodgers can adjust whatever the line of scrimmage if needs be, but like the game plan should be either, and they started to do it. Their openers on Monday
the flip side of that, right? The flip side of that the argument is, right? With the CBA, with the practices, you only have so many practices, right?
Absolutely.
So I am sure, as much as it's easy enough to be like, emphasize that more.
Right.
You emphasize something, you de-emphasize something else.
And then the other thing would be, the counter action to that would be, okay, we've practiced all the running, and then now all of a sudden the passing game looks bad, and everyone's like, well, they're clearly emphasizing the wrong thing. Or they're not practicing.
And I will say, with Aaron Rodgers being gimpy, and with our offense not being as efficient as it normally would be, they got Graham involved a lot more in that game.
They did.
There was if we're going to be coming back and playing from behind, we need to sling it.
Yeah. Well, they did.
And if that's the team that we are, so be it. My biggest problem.
Start that way.
My biggest, yes, 100%, 100%.
But that's
why run when you can win?
Why run when you can win? But that's my point about identity. Just admit who you are.
But that's never going to happen.
But no,
has he ever done that though?
Yes, that's what I was just going to say. Remember in 2007, Favre's final year, when that first 2 weeks they couldn't run to save their life. They could not run the ball for love or Jesus. And then they get to week 3. They're playing the San Diego Chargers, who have a good run defense. And Mike literally comes out and says, screw the run game, throws it like 50 times, and they win. Huge walk-off last second play, but they win. And it's like, I just be who you are. If you're not going to emphasize the running game, if you're not going to practice it or whatever, and I'm not saying that's totally it, but like, if you're not going to run Aaron Jones, who's clearly your most talented back, be who you are. Come out 5 wide, get to this quick passing game, dink and dunk. Let's go.
I just don't feel like, I almost feel like we should just say the opposite, and then maybe
it'll happen. They should absolutely keep down the path. They should just
run it all the time.
All right, but real quickly, we wrap up the offense here. I just wanted to mention, we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, the passing game, etc. It's funny because you look downfield, and it's so clear. It was clear in the Detroit tape. It's clear in the tape against San Francisco. Aaron's not trusting what he sees downfield.
Yep.
There are so many instances. And it was funny, on Monday night in that second half, when they were really struggling, they kept like stubbing their toe. There was an instant, they come out when they had to have it, right? They were down by a touchdown. This was it. It was the second to last drive where they eventually ended up, they eventually ended up tying the game. It started with a play where Aaron hit the top of his drop. Devontae's on an over against a linebacker, and he just lets it loose at the top of his drop in rhythm, exactly like he should. And it's like, that's how they need him to play all the time. But for whatever reason, he's not trusting it. Because in that instance, it was perfect. He got to the top of his drop, saw Devontae over, and boom. And it's like, people want to say, oh, the receivers aren't open. There are plenty of receivers open. Are there plenty of plays that you can point out where guys are covered? Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's football.
Devontae had a really good game.
Oh, my God.
And Devontae was doing things like, Devontae helped Aaron on a couple passes where he had one where he batted one down. Yeah. But he's going...
that one where he's coming across and Aaron throws it behind him towards the sideline. That could have been picked off.
Exactly.
But he busts it down.
He's playing really smart. My only knock on Devontae this season is drops, but I felt like in that game, he was great. He was really good, and he just was on it. And I think a lot of this, I wonder, right? Like, and this is speculation, obviously, because that's all I do in my life. How much of this, right, is you lose Jordy, you got Devontae.
Yeah.
I don't understand why Cobb doesn't just fill that role for him. You can see Graham getting more confidence with that.
He's not on the field the last 2 weeks.
But yes, 100%. But even early on the season, right? Because you still what you're saying
in week 1.
What you're saying about the confidence level in the Bears game, he didn't get his confidence level until it was like, okay, we have to do it. Every time they have to do it, he just does what he
lets it go. Exactly.
But yeah, there is a hesitancy, and you wonder, so Cobb out, he doesn't have that.
No
MVS,
Allison.
rookie, doesn't have that. He doesn't really have that with his tight ends, right? There is
at
an
all.
inconsistency
At all.
with the tight ends. He's starting to get that with Graham.
Can I just say, I wanted to pull this clip, but I didn't have time today. There was a play where they have Graham in the slot, and they showed it on the broadcast, they show it from the overhead behind him after the play, and it's brutal because, like, and I remember Ryan mentioned it on the watch party. Like, Graham, there's a blitz. Graham comes streaking across the middle, wide freaking open. And Aaron's looking at him. He doesn't pull the trigger, and he literally, like, double clutches it. And then he eventually goes there after, like, all sorts of drama, whatever. And it's like there's two things at play there where 5 years ago, Aaron sees the blitz, Aaron knows he's uncovered, and just hits him in a pop pass and he's off to the races. But even if he doesn't see that, on the flip side, for Graham's part, he sits down in this hole in the zone. You're talking about Jordy, and I thought this was a great example where Jordy was the best at hole in the zone, sit, present my hands, give my quarterback a target, and let him know I'm here. Whereas Graham, like, drifts and drifts and drifts, and that's where Aaron doesn't trust it. Where he's like, are you going to be where you're supposed to? Are you going to be there? Or are you going to be over there? Like, so literally after the play on the broadcast, you saw Rodgers, like, not yelling at him, but was demonstrative, like, sit down. Just sit still.
Let me know you're there.
Let me know that's where I am. And that's what he had with Jordy. And that's what was so great with Jordy, especially against zone coverage. Jordy sat down, presented himself, and Rodgers knew, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that I'm going to throw this ball, and that guy's going to be there, and we're going to be on our way. So,
well, and just to, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter that are trying to at me on Twitter.
Guys on Twitter adding you?
People on Twitter like, oh, Jordy's doing better this year. Okay.
Oh, yeah, great. The with the 1-5 Raiders,
3-2-1 people.
He's had like one good game.
3-2-1.
Relax on the Jordy Love. Let's switch over to the defensive side of the ball for a second.
Okay.
Because Holy Toledo was the defensive line and really the defensive front pushed around by the San Francisco freaking 49ers on Monday night.
No doubt.
That
who do you think
was alarming.
Who do you think has the turnover differential between the Packers and their opponents?
Oh, here we go. I'll say after Monday night, I think they were at -1 coming into the game. So now I'm going to say the Packers because
by how much?
By 2?
+1. You were almost brilliant.
Close. All right. Because I knew. Oh, that's right. Because there would have had to have been 3 turnovers. All right. Because hey, how about that play by It caused the fumble, and then they had the pick by King. So all right. So +1. Okay. So they're finally in the plus side of the ledger.
That's good stuff.
That's good. But yeah, that defensive line that first drive. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was a portent of things to come.
Yeah, and they did have some stops in the game. I mean,
they did. A second half, obviously, they came around and they only allowed 3 points. It was interesting. I think the 49ers got a little pass happy. That's Kyle Shanahan's MO.
Yep.
But wow, it really felt like whenever they wanted to. They could run the ball, they could dominate, they could push, whatever.
I got another thing for you. Who do you think is winning the time of possession? The Packers or their opponents?
I'll say the opponents.
Nope.
All right.
Packers by 3 minutes.
Wish they'd do more with some of
I think that's a little unbelievable,
possessions.
though. I think it's a little unbelievable. That's what you didn't see.
Right.
You only saw it on one drive. They had who were we playing? They had it against Detroit, and they have these drives where they were like, you know what? We're going to take 8 minutes off the board.
Oh, yeah. That's what they did. When they ran the table, that was their whole MO.
Exactly. And they had that going on.
Long
They
ass
did not
drives.
have that going on Monday night.
Oh, well, because they could 3 and out. They ain't going to help anybody. And the other issue, you talk about the defensive line getting pushed around, but good Lord, never has it been more apparent that there is no significant pass rush on this team.
Lord.
Whatsoever, unless Mike Pettin brings everybody up the line and he'll send some, he'll drop some, whatever. He'll do some exotics, but that's their only chance.
Yeah.
I mean, that and maybe possibly a coverage sack.
But you know whose fault that is?
Brian Gutekunst?
Ted Thompson.
Well, it's both of theirs. Brian Gutekunst is in charge. All right, he could have done something about
2015, 2016, 2017. Name a pass rusher that's on the Green Bay Packers that actually can pass rush from those 3 drafts.
Just not.
There isn't one.
There aren't. Yeah, I know.
They don't exist.
But guess what? Brian Gutekunst had all offseason to add
Who's
somebody.
he going to get?
He could have added somebody. Could have drafted Derwin James in the first round. He could have been added to the pass
besides
rush.
the draft, who's a free agent we could have got?
There's nobody. That's the point.
the thing.
I know.
So if you don't draft them, it ain't happening.
I feel you.
And if Ted's like sitting like this, drafting.
Ted, and by Ted, you mean Russ Ball.
We got a draft now?
Be nice.
Ted, thanks for ruining the last 3 years of the Green Bay Packers. Appreciate it, buddy.
Okay, but I will say, all right, I say Derwin James, but I will give props to Jair Alexander for this reason. Doesn't it feel like, now try and think back to the last time Jair was on the field, right? Or whenever you've seen Jair Alexander on the field. Doesn't it feel like the defense has its swagger when Jair's out there? And when he's like,
is that more from him though?
I think so. I'm starting to think so. Because think about, I mean, just the last 2 games when he hasn't been out there, the defense has been really lethargic.
Yeah.
Really kind of pushed around. They've made adjustments and they've played okay down the stretch. But when Jair's out there, it's like they kind of rally around his energy.
Most of our sacks have come from quote unquote covered sacks.
Exactly. And, he gets in guys' faces. He's not afraid to be physical, even though he's not the biggest guy in the world.
Yeah.
Like, I think guys feed off of it. And it sounds weird to say because he's a rookie who's not playing like he plays a ton of snaps because he's a starter, but he's not a guy that like you would think would be a rallying point, but he kind of feels like he kind of is.
Well, there's guys like that, right?
Yeah.
There's guys that have,
react to,
you're just like, oh, I like that guy. I trust,
All right. Keys to the bye week. These are pretty simple because we always do keys to the upcoming game, but there's no game this week. So keys to the bye week. Let's get healthy. Get healthy. They just got to get healthy.
That would be nice.
I think it'll be nice to get a full complement of receivers. How crazy is that? Think about that. They'll have Randall, Geronimo, MVS, EQ.
So we really
to
will
go with Devontae.
So we really will go 5 wide now.
Maybe
we will see the return of Dink and Dunk.
And maybe they'll bring back Kumaro.
Oh no.
Maybe. But then on the flip side, you're talking about like going to get help or whatever. I get asked every day, multiple times a day, are they going to trade for this guy? Are they going to sign this guy in free agency?
When's the trade deadline?
October 30th, I believe.
Oh, it's that late?
They actually pushed it back a couple years ago to engender a possibility of more trade.
That's why we got you, Nagler.
Oh, God help us.
Because I don't know those things.
But I'm just here to tell you, don't expect outside reinforcements.
No.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear that Brian Gutekunst operates in a similar manner to Ted Thompson, not completely like him, but
who could? Okay,
I don't see him giving up assets for if a rusher who's going to maybe come in and help a little bit.
If he was, and that's the thing. If he was willing to give up a one,
if he wanted to go and get
just one of the ones,
but there's no who. Like there's no one that's
I'm asking
available.
you.
Yeah, no.
You're like who? I'm like I don't know. I'm asking you.
That's the thing. There's nobody available. That's
Julius Peppers.
Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. That's my point. So don't expect outside reinforcements. With that, Gaff, it is time. Roll it, kid.
This week in the Packer blogosphere.
That's right. It's the return of This Week in the Packer blogosphere. The return of that venerable series. Corey Banke, you were greatly missed on Monday night.
Sure.
However,
you had a Packer legend in the house. You didn't miss me.
I will say, though, it was pretty surreal. I was sitting behind this table with Ryan freaking Grant to my right. I literally would just say, like, talk about this. And he would just talk about it. And it was awesome.
You were like every press person.
I was. I didn't care. I didn't care.
Can you talk about that?
I just wanted to hear stories. And he did not disappoint. This one actually came from the chat. Someone on the chat asked him, and he just went with it. It was great. Like, so, Gaff, roll it.
You say question, but your favorite 2007 Favre moment? Getting invited to the catered meal after practice.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Which let me know that I was actually like one of the guys on the team.
Well, tell them about that. Like, well, there was like only a select group.
Yeah, so I think a couple weeks in after me like kind of being the guy,
right.
I get asked by Red, who's our equipment manager, like, hey, RG, what are you doing for lunch after practice? And it was like, what are you talking about? I'm going to the cafeteria, like everybody does every day. Like, I'm in the cafeteria, and he was like, no, he said, well, afterwards, come in the back. And I was like, all right. So before meetings, we're getting ready to eat after practice, I go in the back. And we were getting ready to play like either on Monday night or something, because we had the crew here, the whole Boomer.
Oh,
like,
right,
we had the whole,
crew.
the whole ESPN crew was there. So Boomer, like everybody's there. And I go in the back, and they're all sitting there with this full table of catered food with this chef. No, literally, with a chef is there, and they're chit-chatting, and Brett's there, and Drive is there getting food. And I'm thinking, what the hell is going on here? And they're like, oh, RG, come on, man, go sit down, go get a plate. And I'm like, this is what you guys do every Friday or Thursday. I think it was Thursday. I'm like, this is what you guys do every day? They're like, yeah, man. Like, Brett basically brings in a chef. Yeah, Brett brings in a chef every week. And for certain guys, the guys can come in and get a meal. So I remember being like, well, okay. And they're like, no, you're good, man. Like, you come in. This is what we do every week. And they're like, oh, you can take it back. So I like took back all these plates back to meetings.
Right.
And I'm in meetings. And as soon as I walk in meetings, Cool's
like, where'd you get that?
Cool's like, the fuck are you doing? Like, where'd you get that from? And I'm like, sorry, dude. Like,
you're not one of the
this
chosen.
is, yeah, I was like, I was like,
oh, that's a fumble. That's a catch and a fumble.
There you go.
Give it to me.
Big play.
That's awesome. So Coon's like jealous.
So guys were like, what? And and I remember EB kind of being like, hey, you take care of business. And I'm sure, listen, it didn't take long for Coon to be the guy.
Didn't take long for Coon to be the guy. I just love it.
I love how like you're
Our
just
stories.
telling stories and you're supposed to be watching the game. You're like, oh look, an interception in the game I'm watching.
It happened. You know the best part of the whole video though? You notice how the possession switched right at the end, like in real time, as opposed to when like you and I are doing it.
And I'm like, oh, did they have
the possession?
ball?
Right. Shout out to Manichi.
Shout out to Manichi, but I gave Manichi hell today.
Oh no!
Because I was like, dude.
Oh, the pregame thing.
What is going on with the pregame
That was
thing?
hilarious.
There's no,
Can I just tell you?
thing.
Can I just tell you this is the best? So before the game, Manichi
failed.
For those out there who don't know, Manichi's one of our producers. Good kid. But he comes up to me before the game and goes, oh, so I made this thing, it says pregame before the game. And I literally say to him, I said, don't forget to take it off when the game starts. And then afterwards, the first thing he says to me is like, oh, just so you know, like, yeah, like middle of the first quarter, I realized pregame was still on.
Yeah, see, it's a lot harder than it looks.
It's a lot
to run the
harder
graphics, okay?
Okay, but really, seriously, people, it's, this week in the Packer blogosphere, there is no bigger event than what I am about to talk about right now.
Oh, dear.
There is a very special birthday today.
What happened?
A co-founder of a humongous Packers blog has his birthday today.
Jersey Al?
And I just wanted to give a shout out to said blogger. Gaff, roll it, please.
Oh, dear.
Try and watch out for the face paint, man. The dermatology stuff, just careful.
Happy birthday to Mr. Corey Benke from all the Packer Transplants down here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Have a great one.
Flag.
Happy birthday to this guy. Happy birthday, Corey, from Michael Klink.
Michael Clank, super fan.
This is Matt Pearson from Oak Park, Michigan. I would like to wish Corey Benke a happy birthday on this wonderful fall afternoon. I'm currently at work, so I can't do a legitimate toast at this time, but here's to hoping that you don't have to deal with a massive atrocity of Brett Hundley chewing gum on your very special day. Go Pack, go!
Hey guys, coming to you from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, here to wish Banky a happy birthday. Hope it's a good one. Go Pack, go!
Corey, happy birthday. I've always said that you and Nagler are like the angel and devil on my shoulder. You being the crazy diehard Packer fan that Packers can do no wrong, while Nagler is the level-headed guy that kind of keeps me sane. Anyway, thank you for being that angel. Have a happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, bro. Go Pack, go.
Corey Benke, it is the 100% real Aaron Rodgers. No need to investigate any further because it's definitely me, the greatest of all time, Aaron Rodgers. And I'm here to wish you a happy birthday because your eternal optimism always inspires. We love what you do. Keep it up. Thank you so much.
I like that one.
That's nice.
It's nice and simple.
I like it. I like the mustache.
Right. So there you go.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Aaron.
Did you know that was coming?
No.
All right, good.
Well, it was funny because
put
Garda put Banky birthday and I don't know what it was. It was like somehow he replied all.
Oh no.
And so then when I saw Garda, I was like, oh, that's what that is. That's cool.
Lord.
That's nice.
Yeah, no, I literally put the call out, but I said literally on the tweet, I said, do not at him. But then someone was like, doesn't he follow you? I'm like, he's at a conference all day. He never texts Twitter, so he won't see it.
The only thing I checked of yours was before the show. I was going to retweet the show.
Exactly.
That's funny.
So I knew you wouldn't see it.
Thank you.
So happy birthday, brother.
Appreciate it.
So that's it, unless you got anything else, Banky.
Nope.
That'll do it for this week's episode of Packer Transplants. We'd like to thank everyone who connects with us all across the internet, be it here at Cheesehead TV or any of our social channels. You guys really help make this a unique fan experience. And that's why Corey and I are here. We are and will always be devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide.
It's honorable to take the high road when something like this happens. Is there any positive in terms of motivation for your guys, how ticked off they are about how this played out? Any of that can be used in any positive way whatsoever?
I'm not in the mood for drama tonight, Jason. Okay? I appreciate that.
What do you think you told the critics tonight?